Hello everyone, my name is Rafael Abuelo from Creative Computing Year 3 from Batspa University. And in this video, I will be presenting my machine learning model for our machine learning project. So for my project, I decided to create a regression machine learning model that predicts calorie expenditure. So here are my libraries. So I use NumPy, I use Pandas, Matplotlib, I use Seaborn, I use sklearn, and I use XGBoost. I also used metrics from sklearn and grid search CV that's also imported from sklearn. So the first step of my model is the data collection and pre-processing. For this project, I had two datasets, one for the calories and one for the exercise. So as you can see here, these are my two datasets. The first one is calories, which has user-specific ID as well as their calorie count. And for the second one, I had my feature variables that has the gender, age, height, weight, duration, heart rate, and the body temperature of each user. So as you can see here, it corresponds to the calorie data from the other file. Okay, so now going back to the code, what I first did is pre-process the data. So for that, I imported the data into the code, and then I started reading the shape of the calories. I printed the head, and I did the same for the exercise file. Now we need to create the data frame. So to create the data frame, I use concat here in order to process the data better. I also printed some description of the files in order to view them better. And now that I've pre-processed the data, I decided to visualize it in order to have a better understanding of what we're working with. So as you can see here, I created a plot chart to compare the genders of the participants in the data between male and female. I also created distribution plots in order to correlate the density between and the age of the users. And then I created another one for the count and the age. And then I decided to create another distribution plot for the density and the height, and another one for the density and the weight, and then another one for the density and the heart rate, and then finally for the count and duration. After that, I encoded the data that I received, as you can see here, and to get a better understanding of how all the variables relate to each other and correlate, I created a heat map, two heat maps here. Okay, so after getting the categorical values, I decided to print the data again just to see how it looks like now. And then here, for the machine learning model to work, I first separated the feature data and the target data. So as you can see, the features here, which are the age, the weight, and the height, the stuff like that, I decided to put them in the X variable, while the target data, which are the calories, which is what we're predicting, I put them in the Y variable. And then once they're separated, I split the data into training and the test data using train test split. So that makes it so that the machine has the training data and then the test data. I also converted the variables into a float so that the machine reads them better. For the model training, I use an XGB regressor, which is a regression predictive model, in order to predict the calories burned. For the evaluation, I predicted the test data received and then printed them out, and then to calculate the accuracy of the model, I used the mean absolute error. So as you can see here, the mean absolute error for this machine learning model is 9.22, which is very high and accurate for predicting calorie expenditures. I also used hyperparameter tuning in order to get the best parameters to further optimize the results of this machine learning model. Moving on, I created a separate code with Python in order to create a GUI for this machine learning model. So as you can see here, I use the same libraries, except I imported tkinter as well as more features of matplotlib and seaborn in order to create the GUI. So when you run this code, you get this GUI. It basically shows the table of the comparisons between the variables in the dataset in order to understand them and visualize them easily, as well as the mean absolute error that we received from the machine learning model. And down here, it also shows the actual calories and the predicted calories of the dataset. So that's it for my machine learning model. Thank you so much for watching.